Today's episode is brought to you by Broadview Kitchen and Bath Home Discount Center in Philadelphia. The perfect place for homeowners, rehabbers, do-it-yourselfers, or contractors who are looking to save over 50% off home remodeling supplies. Molding at bargain prices, quarter round at just 36 cents a foot. Granite countertops installed starting as low as $39 per square foot. Visit their factory showroom at 6330 North Broad Street in Philly, where they have windows, wooden cabinets, faucets and sinks, vanities, hardware, plumbing supplies, closeout specials, and a large selection of tiles. Visit their website or call at 215-548-5060 for more information. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Catchup, and today my guest is Shelley Drummond, and Shelley Drummond and I have been in the same class in 4th and 5th form, right?
Was it only 4th and 5th form?
Well, you in the 3rd grade, you're in 3 red?
I was in 3 red.
Yeah, you're not the bright people in class, we never know the bright.
Yeah, was it 3 red or 3 green?
I was in 5 green and 4 green, but I was definitely not in red.
I think I was in 3 red. That
Yes.
was what class?
That was the bright class, so we call
No,
it.
it was just a science class. Science don't mean bright.
I think we branched off in sciences until 4th and 5th form.
Oh, okay.
Because I think I was in crimson for 3rd form.
Okay.
And because Kamei was in your class in 3rd form, and then she went off and did blue. That's my cousin. But I think you guys were in the same 3rd form.
I know, come here, your cousin.
So
Yeah.
I always call the red bright class, bright as.
Well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for saying yes to Catchup.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. So your graduation class was 1996 because we're in the same class. And so tell us, where are you located now?
I am living in Negril, Jamaica now.
But you also do commute for your work, and you're going to tell us about that. So tell us about your job.
So I'm a physician, specifically a neonatologist, and that's a physician who takes care primarily of babies in the ICU, the intensive care unit. So primarily like premature babies, any babies born with any kind of congenital defects like heart defects, etc. Need specialized care at birth. That's what I do. So I did move back to Jamaica this year will be 4 years now. March of 2020 was 4 years since I moved back to Jamaica to work at the hospital here in Cornwall, primarily doing neonatology because they didn't have a neonatologist at the time. But since then, I've transitioned again. I still live in Jamaica, but I do travel back and forth for work once a month.
All right. So you're going to give everyone just a very high level through milestones, like 30 seconds. I always say 30 seconds, but it's never 30 seconds. Of since 1996.
Yeah, you sure? All right.
But just use high level milestones, right? Just to get us caught up from graduation in 1996 till now in Jamaica, doing what you do. Tell us.
I had a rough start after graduation. Graduation was great. I think I was on a high. I was so elated to have been finished with 5th form, did all my subjects, got all my subjects, and I was just, my head just was not in the game anymore. Like I was not, there was so much expectation of me that my head just wasn't there. I was still on a high from getting CXC all through lower. I went to lower 6 in Mannings, but all through lower 6, I just couldn't get it together. So by upper 6, I knew that I would not be able to be successful in A-levels, so I quit. I didn't go back to A-level. I didn't go back to upper 6.
Mm-hmm.
The year off. Now I call it a gap year, but it wasn't a gap. It wasn't a gap year then. But yeah, I couldn't get my head together, so I left upper 6, took a year off, tried to figure out what to do. I always knew I wanted to do medicine. I've known that since I was 9 years old. So it was just about figuring out how to get it done. And if you don't get 3 A's in A-level, you can't get into med school. That's how the system was back then. So I knew I wouldn't have gotten 3 A's. I took a year off, and then someone told me about the preliminary science program at Community College in Mobay. So after the year off of trying to figure out what to do, I went and did that, and I was successful in the program and was able to get into medical school directly from Community College.
That's UE?
UE, yeah, University of the West Indies Med School. Mona. Then I did 5 years of that. Went after med school, went to do internship in Cornwall, Montego Bay. That was one of the best options. Dawn was living there at the time. My sister Dawn was living there, so it was a good place to go. So went and did internship for 2 years, and I had no plans to move abroad. But I tell you, you make plans and God laughs, because the plan was for me to leave. So I did end up doing the exams, the qualifying exams to go abroad to do residency, to specialize. And I left in 2007, which was 3 years after medical school. Went to Florida, did pediatric residency, which was 3 years. I had planned to come back and practice as a pediatrician, but I realized that there was a need for specialists here. We do have a pediatric training residency program here in Jamaica, but no subspecialization. So no pediatric cardiologists, no pediatric, neonatologists, no pediatric intensive care doctors. No, their specialists are lacking. So I recognized that. And even though I was yearning to come back home, I stayed and did another 3 years to subspecialize and do neonatology, which was something that was very much needed here. And then, over time, I ended up staying in Miami another 3 years. I'd gotten married, had a baby, had a good job, had the house, had the car, had everything. And it was difficult to leave. But again, God puts things in motion that causes things to happen that should happen. The plan was always for me to come back, and everything was just set in place where I could come back. Because one of the barriers to coming back was actually getting a job. You would think because the need was there for a neonatologist, like a job would be readily available. It's not. So after 2 years of asking to come back, a position, I kind of put the dream back in the back of my head, because it's not happening. But a position opened up at Cornwall, and I was able to come back. So came back in 2016 after working in Miami for 3 years post fellowship training, and then I've been living here ever since, and I'm not moving again.
You're good. You're in your dream home.
I'm in my dream location.
Your dream location.
Yeah, definitely.
In the grill.
Yep.
Thank you. So Shelley, what do you do for fun to relax?
Well, I love traveling. So COVID has been very hard for me. Like, if I have any kind of free time off, I'm gone somewhere. Whether it's Jamaica or abroad. And I've instilled it in my son to know, so he's used to it now. So he travels with me. We take like 13-hour plane rides. He's fine. So
he's fine.
Yeah, he's good. He's a trooper. Trust me. God gave me the right child. He knows I needed a child that could put up with my stamina for traveling. So traveling is definitely one of the things I love to do. But other than that, I love the beach, which is why I'm in my dream location.
All right.
Any free time I have, I'm at the beach. Love the sun, the water, everything about the beach.
So how old is your son now?
He's 5.
He's 5. And out of all the places you visited, what's one of your favorite vacation spots?
Ooh, I have a couple that tied.
Go ahead.
Really loved my trip to South Africa. Loved seeing that, because I think the South Africa that's portrayed on the media is not the South Africa in real life. And it was great to see that. Like, South Africa was so gorgeous.
Did you do it on a tour guide? Yeah. Did you do it as a tour guide? No,
I just went with a friend. Yeah. No, but it was a good travel friend. He did all the arrangements.
Okay.
We did like shark diving. We dived with the...
We don't do that. We don't do that.
No, we
don't do that, Shelley.
I did that, and I'm not doing it again, but I'm glad I did it. No, South Africa is so gorgeous. I can see why that continent has been pillaged and robbed and captured. I think it's the most beautiful place on earth. I haven't been to all 150. How many countries? 191 countries. 191, right?
Girl, you're asking me.
But I think South Africa is so gorgeous. I think that would probably be my number one.
Awesome. All right, so I have to put it on the list then. It's on the list, but I probably have to bump it up.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're gonna go back to your Manning school days in terms of your favorites. Who was your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher was a teacher named Miss Nemard. You remember her?
Yes.
Yeah. So Miss Nemard, you are exactly, which is why I think I identify with her and I loved her so much. She was petite, just like me. She was small, and I think she had a liking to me too, because I was also like the smallest one in the class, me and Esther. So I liked her. I don't know. I had a good rapport with her.
And subject.
Yeah, so my favorite subjects in school were the sciences. So I liked the chemistry and the biology and the physics.
How about memories that made you smile, that made you laugh? When you think of Manning's, what do you remember?
Oh my gosh, I love my Manning school years, and I love the friendships that were born out at that time. I have friends from high school who have been lifelong friends, a lot of people. So I think the friendships that came out of it are definitely the most, the happiest thing for me.
Yeah.
Love the memories from high school. Love the memories. I was actually watching your episode the other day, and you were talking about the concerts we used to have with the dancing. I was one of your dancers. I don't know if you remember or not.
Let me see. Let me pray to see. Yes, go ahead. Let's. I'm like praying.
Remember, during that time, the music was just different. That was when Buju Banton put out Till Shiloh. Like
Yeah.
there was a soundtrack to our high school. It would be the Till Shiloh album. That whole feeling and the vibe, and then you had, it was just much. I don't know, I wouldn't say it was much more wholesome.
Yeah.
Maybe wholesome than today. But.
Wholesome to us. Yeah, wholesome to us.
Yeah, but it was good. And then we'd have these concerts all the time. We'd have Friday evening concerts, and then you'd have dancers, you'd have models, you'd have whatever. I was one of your dancers. Yes, you don't remember?
I try not to say, when I'm interviewing any of my dancers, I just smile at myself and just say, I'm sorry.
No, it was fun. Like, that was
fun.
I wish you had, cell phones back then to have memories. I don't have any pictures or videos at that time, but it was so memorable.
Taryn sent me a picture of me and her taking a picture because she's one of the dancers too.
Oh, yeah.
I was after a concert and I said, why are somebody skinny jeans? But she had a picture of both of us. That was funny. But that time I said I was such a perfectionist. I remember
Probably perfectionism, because I think I'm
like that.
Learning lately that I'm a perfectionist when I see certain things manifesting in my child, and I'm like, where did you get that from? And they're like, you. But I do have a story. One of your concerts, I walked off because I was like, no, this is too much. This is too okay. I don't know if you remember. You probably didn't miss me. You're like, all right, bye. But I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna sit this one out. This is too much bumping and grinding.
Was it the one with the Jeep? I wanna ride. Is that the one with Taj and the boys? And it was a whole
partners. We had boy partners, yeah. I don't know who my partner was. Poor partner. I just walked off the stage. I was like, bye. He was left without a partner.
Who was my partner? But I remember once you said too much bumping and grinding. That's the only choreography that I can remember that had a lot because of the boys.
The week before, we had done one that was kind of risky, and like the teachers weren't happy and people were talking about it. And then the next week, you came even more on fire. The choreography was even way more risky, and I was like, nope. I think I'm going to take this one out. I wonder who my partner was. If anybody remember who my partner was, please tell me, because I would love to know. That poor boy was just kind of...
Who was Taryn was left? Carrie and Curlew in there? The Curlews were in there. Who else was in that? Michelle was in there.
Was lots of people. You probably didn't.
Lots of people.
Lots of people. I was gone. I was in the back, so I was just like,
But when the concert happened, it still was bashy.
Of course, it was bashy, but I was just like, I was also a model, so
you participated in other ways.
I did, but that dance, I don't know. I was just like, all right. All right. Yeah.
Gosh, I remember that song because the whole of the auditorium did mash up.
Mash up, yeah. I feel like they were going to cancel our concerts after that. You were pushing it.
I won't say a word. I won't. Oh my God. When I tell my husband and then when when he meets people from my past, he said those stories are true. Like
Yes.
So even him sometimes, what? You guys did okay, all right. You like a little Darlistan guy, you say, yeah, you a country boy,
Which school he went to?
He come from Darlistan. He's been here since he's 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in childhood mostly is up here. All right, so that was good down memory lane. Any answers of mine if I've ever hurt your feelings as well? For my personality,
I apologize for walking off from the choreography. That was not professional.
Not being a team player, Shelley, you're not committed to the vision of bumping and grinding.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, Carl Gainier was a part of the guys.
But maybe if you gave me Carl Gainier, I would have stayed.
Hallelujah.
That was my high school crush. I don't know. I don't know if he knows. He'll know now.
Carl.
He was a lot of people high school crush though. So
And I think he still exercise and work out. I think he's like a workout buff now, so his body's still ready.
They call that something fit, CrossFit.
Yeah. Something like Carl.
I watch the stories.
How would you describe your personality back in high school? And I'm going to ask you about your personality today. What words come to mind?
Yeah, I think I was kind of shy, to be honest. I don't think I was as confident as I would have liked. I think I was shy. I would have liked to think of myself as being confident and not shy, but I think I was more shy.
What about super smart?
I think that's a label people put on me. Like, I don't think I label on myself. Like, I do feel like, I think I worked hard. For me, someone who's smart is someone who can do it effortlessly.
Who was that?
I don't know, Sandeep, Shivakula, like all those people who, Annalisa Balinya.
That's not true. So, I'll tell you a story. Continue. Who else you think was like that? Was like smart and didn't work hard?
Yeah, all those people, Kadria, Birka. I feel like I was smart, but I had to
Work for it.
Keep up, yeah. So, and I think that's a label people put on me. Like, that was expectation of me. Like, oh, you're smart. Like you said, you're in the bright grade. You're smart. You're this. It was just something to kind of live up to. But I wouldn't think of myself as smart, no.
I think you are brilliant. And not because, and I don't look brilliant in terms of not working hard. But I had the same opinion of Annalisa. And I don't know if you knew, but in fifth form, I was living with Mr. Morris. Did you know that?
You told me inside.
Yeah. I was in fifth form. I was living with Mr. Morris. I wasn't home for that during my CXC time. And so during that time, Anna and I go to the same church, the Catholic church. And so we had a study group where I stayed at Annalisa's house. And it was me, Dion. I remember Dion Desai being there. I can't even remember anyone else, but I remember Dion Desai because Dion Desai, look here, I have a notepad. And even at work, I do it. The underside taught me to put all my notes for an exam on one page. And somehow in my mind, if I believe that if I can fit everything on one page, I can ace the exam. And I took it to Teachers College, and it has brought me, I graduated at the top of my engineering class because thanks to the underside. But I thought Annalisa was just naturally bright, and she had her own, what do you call it in terms of unword, the type of word, calligraphy, what do you call it? Because her handwriting was...
Yeah, it was like perfect and fast, and she was like, oh, you take notes so quick.
So the second thing I got from that study group, apart from Dion's one pager, was when everybody tired and want to sleep, Annalisa was still up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought you just passed because
you're bright.
Annalisa studied more than us when we done now, we brain fried already for go sleep. Annalisa was still up in the kitchen. And she said, and the second thing that she shared with me, she said, I reread and read a paragraph until I get it, until I understand it. If I read it the first time and it's just not clicking, I just keep on reading it until it clicks.
Yeah.
And she don't look here, and I hope one day I can really get to interview you. There's so many things that I have learned from Anna that she doesn't even know that I apply to this day.
Yeah.
But I got the chance to tell Dion about the one pager. So I never knew how hard Annalisa worked.
Yeah.
Kadra Fairclough, when I was in Kingston, somehow I don't remember, but I remember sleeping over at Kadra's house when I was going to, it was in Holy Childhood. I did sixth form in Holy Childhood. And Kadra also works hard. And I remember her also getting some serious migraines. I've never seen migraines like Kadra's migraines. And Kadra still excel with the migraines. Because even sometimes the light just really affects her. And so I looked at those ladies differently because I got to see them outside of school. And I'm like, huh, okay, so my ass just have to work. My ass just have to work.
No, I mean, that's true today. Like, looking back,
Yeah.
I should know people are not just that smart, hard work. It's just hard work and consistency that brings results.
Yep. So I thought, but I just wanted to tell you that I used to think until I slept over at their house and I saw them that they put the work in when, we might not, they put the work in. I was surprised. I thought you just naturally just walk into a test. Nope. All right. That's my story. How do you describe your personality today?
I think I'm different now. I think I'm definitely more outspoken and more outgoing. I think my confidence came with time, and I don't think that's unique. A lot of women especially have that story where your confidence builds with time. I used to hate confrontation a lot. I do everything to avoid it, but I now will not become confrontational, but if something needs to be said, I'll say it. I think the important thing is to learn good communication so you can communicate your feelings, your thoughts without becoming, aggressive, confrontational, things like that. So I think in that way I've changed. I'm definitely still a work in progress, but I think I'm more confident and more outspoken, I would say, than in high school. I wish I was more outspoken in high school and more confident in high school.
Interesting. It's so funny how you see yourself in high school and how others saw you, eh?
Yeah. We had this conversation. No, it's true.
It is.
I know.
How about...
It's important to tell people
you
what you think of them. Even if you take it for granted that they know, I think it's important to tell people what they mean in your life.
You are right. Let's talk about belief systems and what you used to believe about yourself and how it has changed. Is there something that you used to believe about Shelley that look at it differently or don't believe it anymore, or you believe something else?
Yeah, I think, again, I don't know. I think I had a pretty good childhood and high school days. I definitely can't complain. But I feel like getting into a relationship early when I was in my early 20s, when I went to college, because that was the first real relationship. I think I learned a lot of things since then about myself, which is, your feelings are valid. Like, don't hide the way you feel. Don't feel guilty about the way you feel. Like, whatever feelings you have are valid feelings, and they're worth saying, even if it's not the opinion of the person you're speaking to or not the popular opinion. Whatever your opinion is valid. I think that's probably the major thing. Because I think I used to feel guilty a lot about the way I would feel about certain things. Like, I would feel it, but I would not say it or try to suppress it, trying to make the other person feel comfortable or not get into an argument or not, and I don't do that anymore. Like, my feelings are valid. If I feel this way about a situation, then that's how I feel. And we're going to talk about it and we're going to move forward. So I think I used to keep quiet to keep other people comfortable. And I don't do that anymore.
You don't do that anymore? Is it because it didn't yield the results you thought it would?
No, because I just realized that why should I do that?
Okay.
About the result, like, even the result is the same. Like, why should I make myself uncomfortable to make someone else feel comfortable? Like, not say, this is how I feel about a situation. This doesn't make me feel comfortable. I'm not happy with this. I would like this to change. Like, you say what you feel.
What advice would you give Shelley? In 1996, that was our graduation year. If you had time to talk to that girl, that younger girl, what would you say to her?
I just say relax. 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 It's all gonna be okay. It's all going to work out exactly how it's supposed to work out. There's someone else in control. You don't have to have all the worry, all the world on your shoulder. Because when I told you, when I left high school, it's like, what am I was so worried. I caught my gap year. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was anxiety. It was stress. Like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? Everything will work out exactly how it's supposed to work out. So I would just tell myself to relax. Don't worry about it.
When did you start to even do modeling? I remember you doing modeling when I was in Kingston. You were in Kingston. Georgia was in Kingston. I saw you on TV. You weren't you modeling one time?
Modeling. I did a modeling thing, but that wasn't doing modeling. That was just something to do. That was that in my gap year. That may have been in the gap year.
Why you pretty? Why you didn't look pretty in your gap year though on TV?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? That gig?
Well, that was fun. Well, as you know, I did that with Georgia, so that was extra special. It was a Pulse modeling contest. It was a Pulse. I did the Pulse petite, and of course, she did the regular model because she's a model size. But that was a fun. So I think it was during the summer too, and we just met lots of other girls and the trips. We did, we had outings. We not only modeled in Kingston on the day of the show, that they took us to Ocho Rios to do a show. So it was fun. I mean,
interesting.
There was the cattiness and it's a competition, and it's a competition about looks. So that part was I was just doing it to do it. It's just something I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a fun time. I don't regret it.
It looked dreamy though, for us looking on.
Yeah, I think it was dreamy. It felt dreamy to me. Like I remember that time with happy thoughts.
All right. Walk us through one of the most challenging seasons of your life, and what did you learn about yourself?
Yeah, I was dreading that question. Okay, I mean, I think the most challenging season, for me was going through my divorce. My parents got divorced when I was in high school too, so that's one of the bad memories of high school. I was 14, they got divorced. I tried that. Actually ties this one as a challenging season, because I think watching your parents get divorced was actually worse than my own. But I felt it was challenging for me because it's not something I had foreseen coming. When you get married to somebody, you don't expect that you're going to get divorced. But from that, you said with every season that presents itself a challenge, there's always a better outcome. So I definitely, through that whole process, I'm so grateful for every step that happened, because I think the person I am today is exactly the person who I'm supposed to be growing to be. So yeah, that would have been my season for sure.
So the biggest learning for you through that about you was?
It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
Trust in whatever you call it, God, the higher power, Lord, whatever your source of spirituality is. Just trust that everything's going to be okay. Like, your world may feel like it's falling apart, but there is a purpose to it. There's a purpose for the pain. There's a purpose why you're going through everything, and in the end, you'll see the results. Just trust that it's going to be okay. That's so hard. So no matter what, I mean, it's easy to say, but I feel like with any challenge that might come my way from here on, I just feel like, there's always that to fall back on. Like, just trust it's going to be okay.
When you get into your next chapter with a partner, will you show up differently? Is there something about you that you will do differently in your next?
Than I did in my last relationship?
About you, just your world, because we can't control others, but about you, will you show up differently in any way?
No, I think I'd be the same. Yeah, I don't think, I'm not perfect, nobody is, but I think I would be the same person. Is that bad? I don't think there's much that would change about my personality. I think with time, like I said, who you are is valid, your feelings are valid, what you have to contribute to society is what you think about, what your opinion is. I think everything is valid. Who you are at the core is valid, and you just need to find the person that matches that well. So I don't think I would change anything about what I did before versus now.
Interesting. I have been several Nackia in the one marriage I've had.
Well, aren't we all? like some days you wake up and you're nice, Shelley, you're the most pleasant person, and then some days you're having a bad day. You're allowed to have bad days. You're allowed to not be at your best every single time. And that's something my son taught me too. Because like I said, when I see these traits in him where he gives off this perfectionist vibe, where he gets so upset to make a mistake, and I do that too. And you have to be easy on yourself. Like you have to be okay with yourself. Nobody's 100% perfect 365 days of the year. There are some days that are going to be great. There are some days that are going to be good, and there are some days that are going to be bad. And it's life. You take the good with the bad. You didn't marry a perfect person.
No.
So just have to roll with the tides.
Girl. What are you most proud of?
I think I am most proud of the fact that I moved back here. I've always wanted, when I left, like I said, I didn't plan to leave. I was always coming back. But once you get situated in, you know how it is, once you get situated in the US and you have things established and life is so much easier there, getting things done is easier there than here. I always had the dream to come back, but I was delaying it. So I would go, oh, not this year, we just had a baby, he's small. And then I'd say, I'd go on a mission trip so I took some friends on a mission trip, and we actually visited the hospital like 2-3 times a year to help. And I was like, oh, this will suffice, this is enough. But this was not the plan. The plan was to go back, work in the system, try to change the system, because you knew what the system is before I left, and what it should be. So I think one of the proudest things for me is that I actually made it back, and I actually did work here for 3 years, and I did make changes that are still in place today, even though I'm not physically at the hospital anymore. And there are lots of babies out there who have survived because of the changes that have been implemented at Cornwall. And I think that's the most proud I am of what I've done.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Can you share with us something that you have learned through working at Cornwall in terms of, babies and having healthy babies and women and women that survive birth and babies that survive birth, and comparing it even to the US? Can you share some information that typical everyday person probably don't realize?
Yeah, there's a lot I share. And I think, like you said, the typical person living here and living abroad don't realize the disparity in healthcare here in Jamaica versus in the US. I think they think it's less, but they don't realize how vastly different it is. How even the expected life expectancy of someone here versus in Florida, an hour from here, is vastly different by at least 10 to 15 years. The infant mortality rate is like 10 to 15 times worse in Jamaica. So if you live here, you have children here, your children are more likely to die here than an hour away in Florida. I think people don't realize how bad the system is. I think in terms of a lot of things, Jamaica has progressed. We're on par with other people in terms of technology. We have roads, we have infrastructure, but in terms of healthcare, I can tell you, when I left here in 2007 and I came back in 2016, 11 years later, the system was worse than when I left. It wasn't the same, it wasn't slightly better, it was worse. Yeah, I just feel like there's been no progress made. I think people don't realize how bad it is really. I mean, let me give you an example. This is not even my area, but say someone goes into a hospital in the States with a stroke. So the ambulance pick them up. They know they're having a stroke. They call ahead. They tell the hospital, hey, this person's having a stroke. They call ahead to the hospital. The hospital has to get ready because there's a protocol in place where if this person doesn't get treatment within an hour of coming to the hospital, where they literally go in, give them medication to break up the clot that's causing the stroke and restore blood flow to the brain that's dying, you're going to be in trouble. If this patient comes to the hospital and within 1 hour they don't get the MRI and don't get the treatment, and you have to answer to someone. So you literally have things in place where this happens routinely every day. I'm at work and you hear over the speaker, stroke alert means someone coming in with a stroke. They know, they're prepared. When will Jamaica ever get there? all these people who are debilitated from strokes, all these people who die from heart attacks, it doesn't have to be because they're not dying an hour away from here. We need to get to that point. And unless you have people in the system who know how it's supposed to work, can ask for what needs to be changed, ask for equipment, ask for, doctors, nurses, things like that, and change it from within, no minister is going to be able to. Our Minister of Health is not even a physician. I didn't know this till like a year ago. Like, he's Dr. Tufton, he's not a physician. So unless you have people in the system changing it from within and have doing what needs to be done, it's not going to change. And I think that's what I went in and did. I went in and I was like, look, XYZ needs to be changed. This is what we need. And things were able to change.
They listen to you. They're open. So is it lack of guidance then, not lack of will?
It's a multifaceted thing. So it's lack of equipment for sure, lack of resources, but also lack of subspecialists. There's a huge brain drain in Jamaica. I have the network of Jamaican colleagues I have in the States who are ICU specialists, all type of specialists. Jackie, or lots of our own blue bloods who are specialists. Jackie Dawson is a superb cardiologist right now in the States.
Yes.
The network of people I have who are Jamaican, who are away from Jamaica, is more than what I have in Jamaica. There's a huge brain drain. There needs to be an incentive to get your people to come back to the country, because we would come back. It's not about the money. I mean, I came back, but with a lot of effort. If people have to fight their way back, then they're not going to come back. They're not going to leave the 401k and the insurance and the good health care and the longer life expectancy and the better infant mortality rate to come. But if you give them an incentive to come back, I think a lot of people will come back. And I think that's a huge part of the puzzle that the government is not fixing. I think you can throw all the money that you want at resources. Like the man said in the newspaper the other day, I don't know if you saw the article. It don't matter if you have 100 ventilators. If you don't have any nurses to run the 100 ventilators, it's useless. So people donate all these things to hospitals. You know where they go sometimes? In closets, because I've seen that myself. I've gone to a hospital. I've seen all these. When I used to do the mission trips, we came out. A lot of the equipment that was donated, they didn't know how to use it. They didn't know what it was for. And it was in the closet. We went in the closet, we got all the stuff out and showed the people how to use it, how to set it up, how to state-of-the-art equipment that was locked in a closet. And that's not an uncommon story. So it's multifaceted. It's not one thing, but unless each area is addressed, things are not going to change.
Would you, and I have to ask because that's where my brain is going to go, would you go into changing the policies and that in Jamaica? That would be like moving out of the thing that you're passionate about, but start fighting the battle in terms of changing that world. Would you?
I mean, at this point, I would do anything that would change the healthcare in Jamaica. I don't work at Cornwall anymore, but I do still intend to practice in Jamaica on my own terms, because I just cannot do it in the government system. Did it for 3 years, and I can see why people either A, they leave, or B, they become so numb to what's happening in the system, they just don't care anymore. So you cannot care about outcomes and stay. So you either get numb to it, you get used to it, or you leave. So I do want to do something here on my own terms. If it means I can get into an administrative role and change things, I would gladly do it. If it means I can build my own hospital and bring my own staff and bring my own equipment and, do all of that, then I will do whatever it takes to get to do it. Because I would still like to do it. I would rather not go back and forth, because neonatologists abroad are, several. We have many, many, many. And I feel like my impact here would be much more. And I know my impact here would be much more because I've seen it between 2016 and 2019 when I worked there. I've seen the difference it can make.
I find that fascinating. So, people ask me about Catchup all the time. And this is the reason why I do it. And I pray that by you sharing that our community will be more educated in terms of what healthcare is like in our country. And for other talented Jamaicans that are watching Catchup that are in other countries, like if ever you have, or there's an opportunity and the universe allows you to walk that path to change, they will know why, and hopefully galvanize the support that you would need.
Thank you. I hope so too. I'm waiting. I'm patiently waiting and watching. I know it's going to happen. I'm just trying to figure out the next move.
I know the feeling when you have to, when you know the next move and you need, well, you have a good system. You make sure that you tap into us, right?
Yep.
You just never know how things work.
Yeah.
What does success mean to you?
That's a good question. No, for me, like success to me would be being able to achieve something like that. I think back to a quote from Bob Marley, one of his famous quotes where he said something to the effect of like, if my life is for me alone, then we don't want it, like I don't want it. So I feel the same way. I feel like if I can help a lot of people, then that would be success to me.
You only have one question left.
Your question?
At the end of your life, one question left. At the end of your life, what do you want us to remember about Shelley Drummond?
Wow. I knew that question was coming and I don't know.
I write the questions when I was doing my episode 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, I watched like a couple of episodes. I knew that was coming, but I just want to be remembered. Like, I think my greatest fear, or one of my greatest fears, is leaving this earth and not doing what I was put on earth to do, my purpose here, and fulfilling that purpose. And I think my purpose here is to be a doctor. I knew from 9 I was a doctor, and I knew I was going to and I knew from 9 I was going to be a pediatrician. The neonatology part came later, but I feel like if I don't fulfill that purpose of trying to establish this kind of thing in Jamaica, this change, at least in neonatology, obviously not in all of medicine, because that would be, I don't do all of medicine, but at least in neonatology, being able to improve the care we give to newborn infants here, especially premature babies with congenital illnesses, then I would feel that's what I want people to remember, like that was an impact. And I made an impact with that. Like with the whole death of Chadwick Boseman and stuff, that has really messed with my head mentally. I think because I feel like you never know someone's life, he's an actor, but I feel like he perfectly did his entire purpose here on earth and then he left. I feel like that was such a good life lived. He didn't have kids, but I think that was, I don't know, to me, I feel like that was a successful life. Like I would want to be remembered for making a change. Yeah, he was an actor, but he changed so many little boys' lives with not only little boys, just people in general, being able to see a Black superhero. I think he fulfilled his purpose, and I just want to be able to fulfill mine. Yeah.
Well, I pray that you do, and it exceeds every expectation that you have in your heart and your mind.
Thank you.
With that, do you have any questions for me before we close?
No, not a question, but just to say good job. Thank you for keeping our memories alive with these episodes. It's, like you said, we never had cameras and video cameras back then, but at least with this, we can still go down memory lane, still, and then see our progress from high school till now and show ourselves that we are progressing. We're not standing still. So I think it's important work, and thank you for that.
No, it is a privilege. It's therapy for me, Shelley. It is a therapy for me, and just one step.
A session. How much do I owe you? Are you going to send me the bill?
Girl, it'll pay you in ways you'll never know. Watch and see how the universe works. Oh, girl. But thank you. This is just the beginning of one of the things in my dream book. And I have many more, many more. So we'll see how it goes and as you said, my intention is to make sure that my funeral is a party.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. But the time I got, I did it. I can drop the mic. That was right. Not than I thought. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Catchup. I hope you enjoyed catching up with Shelley, and I hope most importantly that you learned something new, that you can do something different in your life about. And whether it's even whenever she figures out her path of next steps, and if you see her taking on a path, you'll understand the intention in her heart. And if you can help, please jump in and help in whatever way you can. With that, please like our videos, please share our videos, and have an absolutely fantastic week, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Today's episode was brought to you by Broadview Kitchen and Bath Home Discount Center in Philadelphia. The perfect place for homeowners, rehabbers, do-it-yourselfers, or contractors who are looking to save over 50% off home remodeling supplies. Molding at bargain prices, quarter round at just 36 cents a foot. Granite countertops installed starting as low as $39 per square foot. Visit their factory showroom at 6330 North Broad Street in Philly, where they have windows, wooden cabinets, faucets and sinks, vanities, hardware, plumbing supplies, closeout specials, and a large selection of tiles. Visit their website or call at 215-548-5060 for more information.